Hi, I'm Jason Barnard, I'm the Brand SERP guy, and today we're going to have a quick look at the podcast Knowledge Panel adventure from last week. When did it happen? It was the 12th of October 2021, and a vast number of podcasts suddenly got a knowledge panel. What do these knowledge panels look like? Well, it's a simple knowledge panel with just the title of the podcast series, a description, and with some thumbnails of related podcasts that link through to the results about that related podcast. Now, who got one? It looks very much like over 50% of podcasts got a knowledge panel overnight, and they sprang from the Google Podcasts Knowledge Graph vertical, which is incredibly exciting. Now, RSS seems to be the key. Your feed into Google Podcasts is key. Google applied new stricter rules for Google Podcasts a couple of months ago, and Mordy Oberstein suggested that that was the precursor to what happened on the 12th of October. Because it seems that podcasts that adhered to those rules mostly seem to have got a knowledge panel. That's not firm data, it's an observation, but it seems fair enough to assume. So this is kind of a promotion for Google Podcasts, putting it on a par with Google Books and Google Scholar for triggering knowledge panels. Now, before this update, about 10% of podcasts had a knowledge panel. That's according to data from Calicube Pro. We track about 500 podcasts. Now, they all trigger thanks to other sources such as Wikipedia or IMDb. And those knowledge panels, the ones that existed before, have stayed the same. Now, if you didn't get one, how do you get one? Make sure that your RSS feed adheres to Google's rules. If you do that, you will probably trigger a knowledge panel at some point. It won't happen immediately. There will have to be a process of digestion from Google before it will give you that knowledge panel, so be patient. And also create an entity home. I'm a big believer in entity home so that Google can reconcile all of this information about your entity, the podcast being the entity. And if you want to know more about that, search for Entity Home in SEO, and you'll find an article by myself about that will help you understand that and its role in knowledge panel management. Now, do they always appear on a search for the podcast name? The answer is no. So even if it doesn't appear, it doesn't mean to say your podcast doesn't have a knowledge panel somewhere. You might want to search for SEO podcasts, for example. Look at the carousel, that might actually show you the knowledge panel. Examples of podcasts where they do appear directly on the name of the podcast: Edge of the Web, SEJ Show, Search Off the Record with Jason Barnard as well. And this seems to be linked to having a clear entity home that isn't on Google Podcasts, but also ambiguity. For example, Everyone Hates Marketers doesn't trigger the knowledge panel even though they have one. I think because the name is ambiguous. Now, about 30% of podcasts now trigger a knowledge panel on a search on the name. That's according, once again, to Calicube Pro data. Next, can you claim it? No, you can't, unless it was triggered by another source beforehand. So if yours was triggered by something other than Google Podcasts update from the 12th of October, you can probably claim it. If you can't, just wait, it will come. Next, where is the description taken from? Very simple. The description is simply the description from your feed. So you have total control over the description that appears in your knowledge panel for the moment. So make sure that description is great. Finally, can you enrich it? This is a question lots of people have been asking me. The answer is yes. Right now, the ones that have been triggered by this update on the 12th of October of Google Podcasts have not been enriched, but it's very early doors yet. But if you create an entity home, you can provide additional information above and beyond what's included in the RSS feed. And then by providing that information on the entity home and getting corroboration all around the web, you will be able to push additional information. So I would suggest you start now, because even if today you can't enrich it right away, you will be able to enrich it over time, and now is the time to start. That's it. This is really big news in the knowledge panel world that I live in, and I'm really excited that it's the biggest news of 2021 so far for knowledge panels. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.